It's taking a while. Hey, I think I'm live. I'm gonna send out a tweet anyway. Am I live? If anyone can hear me, say so in the chat. It's not. Are we? Yes, we are. Okay, sorry. Okay. Hey. Alright, anyway. Welcome to a special Sunday edition of Movie Crap Live. It's a little different, but I wanted to do a stream, and this was the best time I could do it, and all that. So I did post a tweet. Post the X. Yeah, oh boy. Alright. Let's just switch to the thing. There's no yes, hello, how's it going? Alright, cool. There is no nothing. This is gonna be a laid back one, but I do want to talk about a lot of this stuff. And there's a lot of stuff to go over. In fact, I actually need to bring something up. But it's gonna be a little semi different, but not really. I don't officially really have what I would consider an actual energy drink. But it is a drink with caffeine nonetheless. So I guess you can't see. Okay, you can't see it. It's right off camera. But anyway, yes. Oh, thank you. I've had this shirt. This is like one of the most comfy shirts I have, and I got it at Target, and I'm always hoping I will get a similar really comfy shirt at Target that has regular show on it, and I've accomplished neither of those things. If they ever have another regular show shirt at Target, I got an X-Men Jim Lee one that was black and white, which is not the cover, but I was like, whatever. I mean, I grew up with the X-Men Jim Lee run, and it was everywhere. But I hope you're all doing well. Oh, you got Gisriel fruit punch in your... Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. I appreciate it, Ryan. I appreciate it. Good morning from Manila. Oh, thank you. I should have gotten a Red Bull. I was too late, and I was just me and the kids, and I didn't want to take him to the store for the energy drink. But you'll see what it is. I guess first super chat, I'll show you what it is. But things been going good, I guess. It's been a really crazy week at work. Thus why I was going to do you read comic books? I used to. I don't as much anymore. My biggest comic book thing I need to do is read the Grant Morrison X-Men run. That is like my big... I catch up on X-Men because that was such a big thing for me. But it's about crazy week work-wise. That's why the videos were so sort of inconsistent. I wanted to post more. I think my Tom Cruise part 2 will probably just come out when there's another Tom Cruise movie, because I want to do other people, and it was just kind of a punishing week. Hey, Classic Cameron, thank you. All right, so this is disappointing, I will say. After you spent money, I hope you had a great weekend. Thank you, Austin. Okay, I have two. This is like, hold on, I want to actually see... I actually have sort of a monitor, even though I have a simple setup. It's just Pepsi. I'm sorry. This is the lamest one probably, but I needed to get something for you guys, and I should have planned it, and I'm sorry, but it's Pepsi. It's the taste of a new generation. First off, that's a thing that you don't remember that probably, but anyway, damn, got punched. Got it. All right. Cheers to you. Cheers to you, Classic Cameron, first off. And cheers to you, Austin. Oh, boy. Good timing. All good. Okay, anyway. I wanted to have something. Oh, I drank that one in a weird way. That give you energy, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Pepsi is good. I actually selected just soda, so I wasn't actually sure what I was going to select. So I want you to know, it could have really been anything at that grocery store. It could have really been anything. I'm a Pepsi. Oh, thank you. You know what? My parents are really into Coke, and then when every time I order a Pepsi, they get like super offended. You'd be surprised at the silly things sometimes. People are like, we can't do that, and I'm like, we have brand loyalty? I don't. Anyway, Yeah, it was kind of a long week. Thank you, Austin, for that. I've had a good weekend. I've not seen Barbie or Oppenheimer. I do like Dr Pepper, but this was a random assortment thing. Um, uh, I have done double features before. I used to do them a lot. I'd like pay for one and sneak into the other. I haven't done that in forever. I just don't have the time to do that now. But in terms of video stuff, last time, if you don't remember, this is like totally fine. I mentioned there was going to be a Last Action Hero video. I wanted to give you an update on that because you're probably like, oh, he's just not going to do it. He just said that. I actually shot it. It's shot. I just need to edit it and put it all together and stuff. But like, I realized before I shot it, I didn't have a real place for it because this summer is, I would say, aggressive in terms of movie releases. Like in a normal year, I probably would have seen and reviewed The Blackening, but there's like too many big movies that you kind of like, oh, well, I have to see Mission Impossible. Oh, I have to see Barbie. Oh, I have to see Oppenheimer. Oh, I have to see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, I have to see this. I have to see this. And it's just like, I honestly, like, this is one of the first times I've ever been like, could we just stop? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's like so hard. So to keep up with this shit. So, Last Action Hero is done, but it will come out. So if anyone was wondering that, it will come out. I don't know what. So is Austin doing is doing a bingo thing with us tonight? That's interesting. Also, I put out Asteroid City. It took me a while because it was just got backed up and things. Indiana Jones, I would like to see at some point. That's gonna be late, but Past Lives as well, which I know I mentioned in my best of the year so far. I do have a review of that. It is shot. It's a great movie. I know that's not like maybe the coolest for a lot of you or something like that. I'm not trying to say you wouldn't see that, but I will be doing that. That review will be coming out. But Barbie will be next week. Oppenheimer, I actually don't know when Oppenheimer. You know what? I like that people are seeing double features, but we will get to that soon. I don't think there's any. Oh, I have been experimenting. I just like to do this as a general update section, keep you up to date. If you noticed, the other week I did a lot of different shorts because this past week was so punishing, and the last couple of weeks have been pretty hard in terms of everything. I wanted to do a poll of like which ones between the Oppenheimer, it's a blockbuster thing. What were they all? Fuck. Now I'm like, wait, what did I do? What did I do again? It was like, oh, The Adventures of Superman. Was it? Oh, it was best of the first 4 months of the year, Adventures of Superman and the Oppenheimer thing. So anyway, give me feedback when I do different kind of shorts. I think I might do whenever I do episode recaps, but I will do a season Adventures of Superman review. As well as one thing, I mentioned this for the Patreon people, is I always see these TikToks and Reels and all this stuff. Like, it's real easy to go trending. You just pick a video of your phone that's 8 seconds long and put a trending audio. And, like, I don't want to do that because, like, I didn't fucking make that music. And, like, I don't want you to just get, like, some random thing of rain with, like, a song. So I was, like, thinking about that. I was like, but I do have a lot of video on my phone and on my drives. And I also have a lot of music. Like, I made a lot of music for the background of videos. So the first one's going to come out actually tomorrow, and I might do that randomly. If that goes well, I might just make a bunch of them. So, like, if there's a week I don't have a lot of stuff, I can post one of those. And it's also like, I have a ton of this stuff that nobody gets to see. I have a lot of this music that people don't get to listen to very much. So it's honestly more of like, I could actually be a little more creative. So that's kind of the deal with that. But I don't think I'll post like more than one a week, if that. Anyway, so if you see that, you're like, what's he trying to do here? It's just like, I made a lot of music. Anyway, I think everyone wants me to talk about certain, news and Barbenheimer. And we're actually going to do a box office thing because this is on a Sunday. I like this Sunday vibe. Oh, man. I did, but it was the super. It's not an exciting drink, Nathaniel Foka. But I like the Sunday vibe. I used to post knock forces on Sunday night. So anytime I post anything on Sunday, I feel like I'm getting the similar energy. Like, we'd work on it all Sunday, and then it would come out and all that. So yeah. But before we get into it, Let's say this because it's true. Oh, hold on. Not in Box 64. Got in there right there. Only thing I hope that 2023 has going for it is it's a start of new era in entertainment in the vein of the 60s. That's interesting. I actually sort of agree, but I've yet to see the future of the 70s coming up, I guess. But I sort of agree with you. Cheers to you, Not in Box 64. You know what's funny? All week I kept seeing this Accelerator 4th of July thing. I should have just gotten it. It's been a long... Whatever. We're doing this. We're doing it. Let's focus on... Anyway. Naked Brothers. Not in my house. I got the Violator. It's probably not funny when I reference things I did. All right. Anyway. So this and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, through Patreon, through Super Chat, through watching these videos. It is all appreciated, and it helps me make more of this stuff. It helps me be able to buy more stickers, to tell more people about it, which actually really worked out this week. I actually had a really cool... I've had some cool experiences with flyers. I put up flyers on the subway a lot, and someone saw me put up, and usually people ignore me or scoff or something. No one's yelled at me, but this one guy said, "Hey, could you move out of the way?" And I was like, "Oh fuck, is he gonna?" And he was like, I want to take a picture. That looks cool. I want to check it out later." And that really, and a couple people want to put up a sticker or like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Oh fuck, here we go." One person did come up to me once and said, "Hey, who are you?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, what is this about?" And she was like, "You're not supposed to do that." And I was like, "Okay." And she said, "Okay." And then she walked away, and I was like, I still don't know what that was. But I've had a lot of cool experiences. So thank you. If anyone who was nice to me, who said, "I want to take a picture," and that was cool, is watching, seriously, that is like really, really nice and really encouraging. So thank you, people who do that. That's really cool. Anyway, Austin says, "We going back to bowl cuts and shag rugs?" Possibly. My grandparents had a shag carpeting, and the cereal we lost on that fucking thing, and my feet would be black. Shag carpeting is gross, I can tell you. Sorry, but everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either through Patreon, which you can click on the link below. There's all sorts of extra features. Like I'm going to do postcards and do a postcard and a picture of TV everyone's going to get this week because I've been behind on postcards and going to catch up this week. As well as you get more power in the movie review vote. You get my commentary series where I go back at old, I'm currently on half Knock Force, half my old videos. All sorts of exclusives. You get to ask questions at a special section for patrons in the questions at the end of the show. It helps me be able to expand the thing. Also, super chats during it where I will drink this magical Pepsi, which may have been... I don't actually think there's too much magical about it, but the guy at the Chinese food place gave it to me, and they were really quick, so that's neat. And anything you can do to support show is always... I'm so grateful for that, and letting me be able to do kind of my dream is always... I really thank you all for that. As well as if you're just watching and you're like, I can't do that. This guy's, I would like to, but just liking the video, or if you're not subscribing. There's all sorts of cool stuff. I do throwback extras. You get more interaction. You know when the videos are going out, but simply just watching them and watching them regularly, or watching them whenever you do. I thank you just for that. But liking always helps. Patreon always helps. Super chats always help. And I thank you just for being here. I really appreciate it. I understand times are hard and all that stuff. But anyone who's financially able to, thank you so much. And before we get to the rest of this, Dan says, so Justice League vs. Godzilla vs. Kong is a thing. What? What is he talking about? What? Now I gotta Google this. What do you mean, Justice League? Justice League versus Godzilla. What? I missed that. What? It's a comic thing. What? What? Holy crap. How did I miss that? That seems cool, but isn't it inadvertently just Superman versus those guys? Man, you got a live reaction. Dan really got me there. Oh boy. Oh boy. That looks cool. I might buy that. Cheers to you. I liked Godzilla Goes to Hell. I need to get the trade to that because I like the first couple. It's such a cool idea, Godzilla Goes to Hell. I know it was a comic they planned for, or a movie they planned forever ago. Okay, and Nathaniel Nathaniel asks, how was your 4th of July? It was good. First off, cheers to you. Actually, Sophie and my wife got to watch the fireworks, and I had to stay here to watch Oscar. Oh, whoa, Will, I will get you, but I want to tell this. So I was like a little, like, oh man, whatever, you know. I want to make sure Oscar's okay. And then the Roots played with LL Cool J, and it was amazing. I was like, what the hell is this? Is great, actually. Like before the fireworks, I was like, this is. I've never seen a good 4th of July concert, and it was really good. I never go to concerts, but I'm like, I am an LL fan. I'm gonna be honest. I think he's a very underappreciated, and that was really good concert. It was check it out if you can. I don't know if it's on YouTube, but LL is like really good, and I think the Roots did one of my favorite Jay-Z albums is the MTV Unplugged with the Roots. And that is, anyway. Will, thank you. That is very generous for you, by the way. Said, BTW Jim, I finally listened to your review for Gremlins 2. Favorite of mine. You did that movie so much justice. Gotta get you to cover the remainder of Joe Dante's filmography. Inner Space is underrated. I haven't seen Inner Space in a long time. I need to do Matinee because that was a favorite growing up. But thank you, Will. That is really cool of you. I think I saw Will did Barbenheimer. I know you did Barbie. I'm pretty sure you did Oppenheimer. Anyway, Will, that is really cool of you. Cheers to you. I also need to do Piranha. I think I saw Piranha when I was a kid, and I need to do Piranha. I need to do a lot of Dante. Sorry, I should have trimmed the mustache before this. All right. Okay. Don't worry, I didn't finish with the thanks. I'm getting majorly sidetracked. I missed you guys. It's cool talking about stuff. Anyway, but also you can follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. I'm thinking about getting a letterbox. I'll let you know when that happens. Oh yeah, that's true. Ryan Walcherson is true about Inner Space. You're right. But also the Discord, I didn't forget, run by Austin Zane Powers. It is amazing. They're doing a bingo right now with it. There's going to be that we always do. We always have a section called Ask Jim where you can ask me questions, and I hopefully answer them when I can, but I do answer. I think I've answered all of them. As well as they do movie watches. They do all sorts of interaction, movie news, all that stuff. So if you're ever like watching one of these, you can hear me talking to the chat, and you're like, I like to interact with that. Like I need a community. It's right there. It's totally cool. It's a really great community. I'm really proud of it. And I really feel like you should get it. So, or if you're not on Discord, it's the Discord I'm most active in, to be honest with you. So, I seriously endorse it. So also, I do have an announcement, and I'm holding that announcement right now. We also have licensed playing cards channel because I play with playing cards, and I kind of lost my previous ones, which were lasting for a long time. But I have these really cool, and I'll take a picture of this either tonight or tomorrow. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Hold on. Sorry. Spirited Away trading cards. That's right. Calm down, chat. Don't go too crazy. Spirited Away trading cards. Like, look at this. Look at No Face. This shit is cool. Yep. Spirited Away playing cards. I know. Everyone, don't post too much. It's gonna go. Don't go too crazy over the Spirited Away playing cards. I'm excited to post it. Anyway, they're really good. I think I got them, or I forget. Anyway, all right. So they are pretty cool. They are pretty cool, I gotta say. All right, let's actually do some box office for once, because I can never really do it because it's on Saturday, and it's like I don't want to be wrong, and there's a lot of box office stuff I want to talk about. So let's get into that. So this was, I gotta say, a great weekend for the movies, and I'm really happy about that. Barbie made $155 million, being, I believe, in case I think, yeah, it's the biggest opening weekend of the year. Seconded by Oppenheimer with 80 million. Now, Barbie was in a lot more theaters with 4,243 than Oppenheimer at 3,610, but Oppenheimer also had premium, large format theaters, which they were very much selling. I don't think Barbie got as many of those. Whereas Mission Impossible fell 64%, but we'll get into that. I do feel bad for Mission Impossible. But what I think worked about this is that it was fun. I think the thing about movies and summer movies that people forget is people want to have fun at the movies. And I also think that even though this hasn't been movie-wise a bad film season necessarily, I didn't see Indiana Jones, so I'm not counting that. But in terms of like the blockbusters, like the Transformers movie was one of the better ones, maybe not the best. Fast X was a better Fast and Furious. Guardians 3, even Little Mermaid wasn't a bad Disney live-action remake. I think the difference is that, one, there's so many, so you really had to pick and choose. No one has a lot of money right now. But also, like, no one was making that event. Like you saw with the Minions, was that 2 summers ago? 1 summer ago? Things like that. The ones that were really rising were the things that were huge quality and things like that. Nathaniel Focus says, not as cool as the Cowboys and Aliens cards. That's true. Those were legendary. Cheers to you. I think it's like what people say about like why suddenly like a really silly comedy blows up, because people are like want to go into work and go, you know what I saw, ha ha ha, but I had a good time with my friends, and that's ultimately like, hey, do you want to get together and see this and this? And I think it works the same way like Force Awakens works, Endgame works. I think was it just Endgame and Infinity War were the other ones, and Force Awakens were the other big weekends. But I think those were like, let's get the group together. And the way this worked is like, let's get the group together and let's see both, because people have made Barbenheimer a thing, but Barbie appeals squarely to the female audience very well. It, I think, is one of something that really got out of control. I don't think the studio had much to do with it, although I think the Barbie marketing team was amazing. I think that had a lot to do with it. But it's also like a thing you'd never seen before or hadn't seen in a while. The Barbie thing reminded me of the Brady Bunch movies, to be honest, which I think I should review at some point because I love the Brady Bunch movies. But I think it's also just like, it gave you something to talk about. Everybody in movies is talking about these two things, and it's fun to talk about, and they're different. You know, it's not the same as if Barbie was big and Oppenheimer's big, which I agreed with everyone was like, this is a shitty way to release movies. They're competing with one another. That is not what we should be doing. I totally agreed with that until now, because it was like, how this works is you're having too many conversations. It's hard to keep up with, but everybody wanted to follow it, and it just I think that's like, it's such a rich conversation. That's the thing about it. It's multi-layered. There's different things. It's just, I think there's like too much to offer. You know, if it was just Super Mario Brothers and everyone's excited, there's that with just Barbie, but there's also Oppenheimer, and it's like where you know, I do think this highlighted that like people like variety, but also that like, I was surprised though. Well, one thing I was really surprised by, unless I'm wrong, and if anyone in the chat saw this, I did not see this anywhere in New York. No one was offering a double feature discount anywhere. And I thought that was odd, because the shirts and like there's so much build up, like nobody, was there even an attempt? Because it feels to me like people just did it. And like, I was confused by like why no theater was like, all right, well, you know, 2 for 1, or like, oh, there's a special program, or like, we'll give you extra food or something, or you get a special shirt we made. or something. And there's like really hasn't been that, but people are clearly doing it. And I think it became such a weird thing because people couldn't believe these two were coming out on the same day. And it originally everyone said that Warner's was trying to fuck with Oppenheimer. I don't see some of this. I didn't really believe. Some features did do double feature. Some I'm seeing some people are saying they were doing that. Okay. But I don't know. But yeah, some people are saying that because Nolan picked it and it's traditionally his spot and Warner's trying to fuck with him. It's also like the real last spot of the summer and Ninja Turtles picked the beginning of August. And then like, I don't think August, I wish August was more of a thing. I think that's sort of a really stupid idea from Hollywood, but it just, I think somebody should find a lower budget film and put it like later in August because like how is Labor Day not a big holiday weekend? You know, it's like kind of weird. So many people have off and Hollywood's just like, I don't know, here's like whatever. It's like they don't give a shit. Like it's the one 3-day holiday weekend America has that they're like, yeah, I don't, here you go. It's like they don't care. It's very bizarre. Anyway, I'm happy that people like the movies. That's honestly what I'm happy about. I used to do double features all the time. I think there's a question about that later. But I know for a fact I did Box Trolls and Fury, the double feature. I did The Man with an Iron Fist, I think, in Flight. And my original plan was to do Wreck-It Ralph, Man with an Iron Fist, in Flight. I've done triples before. I used to do that all the time. If you watch my 2010s content, I used to see like one and then another and then another. Like I think I did, but it was just like what was out that week. That would be my double feature. I didn't even blink about it because now I don't have the time to do that. Like if this was 2012, I would have done Barbenheimer, like no question. It's like not even thinking about it otherwise. But I usually like snuck into the other movie. So hey, shout out to someone who snuck into one of the other box office things. First off, Mission Impossible, I guess, will be quicker. Mission Impossible, I think what happened with that is of all of them, everyone was saying, why didn't you come out on the 7th? They kind of just let Insidious make a shit ton of money. And it seemed like they were underestimating July 7th, I believe, because I understand what they were thinking because July 4th, traditionally, if it's on a Wednesday, your movie makes a shit ton of money that whole week. And you can't really release anything until the week after. And I get like Tuesday, you can sort of have that. But Indiana Jones was not going to be that. And I think they should have course corrected and realized that way earlier than they did. But they didn't. It's still a good movie and I kind of feel bad for it. But I think also like it's July, even though I'm excited for that movie that takes place on the boat between I guess it's Transylvania and England in Dracula. That movie looks amazing. I'm like so excited for that, by the way. I'm like very hyped. I'm really into this. It is such a cool idea. I don't know if that's ever been done before. I haven't looked it up, but I'm like, I like this concept. It seems cool. I don't know. But I think it could perform well and make up for it also because the reviews are so on its side. But I think the problem is like it is going to be the third choice for most people because, I mean, I've already seen it. But like for everyone else, they're like, well, I'm going to see Barbie or Oppenheimer first. And I think maybe it could be someone's second choice. But right now it went from being, first to a second or third predominantly for a while. So I do think because people are so hyped on the movies, and one thing we don't talk about enough, and what happened with like that film Daddy's Home, which came out around Force Awakens, is if people are at the theater and they see the posters and stuff, like a lot of people, especially people who don't go to movies that much, you will see a movie that kind of like gets a bump because people are suddenly engaging with the theater and they'll go, oh, what's this? That looks fun actually. Or all the show times will be sold out and they go, I did want to see this and I don't want to go home. So yeah, The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Yeah, that's not a great title, but I like the concept. Anyway, so that can work out for it. Indiana Jones is not gonna. I'm gonna see that eventually. Sound of Freedom. I'll talk about this quick, and then we will move on to what am I talking about next? All the SAG stuff, which I should. Well, we'll do Comic-Con, and then we'll do all that stuff. Anyway, let's keep it sort of light, but not. I mean, it's the movie news. Here's my thing with Sound of Freedom is there have been a lot of TikToks and a lot of things of people who are trying to investigate Sound of Freedom who are conservative, who are like, why is the theater empty and it says sold out on the thing? What kind of conspiracy is that? It's not a conspiracy by the like the right. Or it's not a conspiracy by the left. It's like the right or the conservative people who are buying tickets and then not showing up for the movie. And so it might be the least attended blockbuster this summer. And I don't love that. And I don't think that's good for the film industry. And I don't like that conservatives have been doing that. Like, it's like you're buying a group for your church and like 10 people show up. I really couldn't give a fuck, like, to be honest with you. And that just happens and you paid for it. And like, that happens. Fine. But, wait, is an ad coming up? I didn't do that. It shouldn't be doing... Okay, I'm sorry. I only do that later in the show, so I apologize if it is doing that. Anyway, but I do not like that it's is it happening a lot? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. But I don't really get like what they think they're doing other than like, because Hollywood I think could learn the wrong lesson from this and be like, let's basically put out like these conservative movies because we'll make money because we'll just support it. I don't know if it's like, it doesn't work all the time, but I don't love this trend of like, let's sort of lie. Let's like, it's a very conservative thing. Let's like mess with the numbers so it works out for us. I don't really love that. So, did I hear a cat? I do not. Okay. I'm probably gonna go. Let's do the SAG thing, and then I have to deal with a kid thing, and then there'll be like oh, what? What Sound of Freedom stopped playing at the movies I work at, and some sound came out to let me know, and they fixed it, and it was normal, but some lady said it was left out there to attack the movie. Oh my god. Um. Oh, start of the. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Anyway, let's talk about. Should I talk about SAG or I'm going to talk about Comic Con. So Comic Con was sort of weird because all the movie stuff was gone. So it sort of reminded me of the Comic Con of the 90s where I'd hear from somebody at the comic book store or Wizard, like, there was a Mallrats panel. They had the Batman Forever Batmobile at Comic Con in San Diego. They had I remember hearing about the Youngblood like headquarters. I had heard it was the Youngblood headquarters, and then when I eventually saw it on a video, it's like a ship. It still looks cool, but like I remember when I eventually saw it, I was like, yeah, I can't think of what a Youngblood headquarters would be. But I was excited that it was back to normal. I didn't hear much big comic news except for the Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. That's pretty cool. But I didn't know kind of the biggest stories I heard about were were animation related. The Luniversity theme song, which did look really good. I noticed they kind of used like some like kind of computer smoothing on the thing, which I didn't love. But it seemed to get the manic energy of it. I'm not sure if I'm a little wondering that I think Animaniacs didn't really take off with the kids as much as like the new Looney Tunes did. And I sort of get the vibe that like my kids watched Animaniacs when I put it on, but like Looney Tunes my kids request, and I've heard other kids are into, and I think do that happy medium. And I think like as much as I like Animaniacs, it never appealed to kids these days. And I think Tiny Toons Luniversity, I'm not sure which way it's going. I sort of think more Animaniacs, but I kind of would like it to appeal to kids in the modern sense. So we'll see which it's going to be with that. I'm a little curious, but right now I'm okay with the theme song. I don't have a huge what's going to happen there. But the big thing that, and I know it's on the thing and everything, is X-Men 97. First off, as I said before, I am going to do reviews of each X-Men season. I'm working on season 1 actually, and that will come out, I hope, sort of soon. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about that. But it is. I didn't forget. But we didn't get to. I didn't see the footage. But and I forgot Sunspot was going to be an addition, which is a. I don't have anything against Sunspot as a character, but it's sort of an odd choice. I'm not sure why, but I'm curious how they're going to do that. I know Bishop's on it, and supposedly from what I heard write-ups of the footage, they're going to do. I mean, I saw. Okay, a couple people are mentioning. I'll talk about the animated DC things. I thought that was kind of a disappointing. Well, I'll say now, I thought the Crisis on Infinite Earth thing sounded cool, but I feel like a lot of the DC animated stuff, it's like, well, a Watchmen animated movie I would be excited for, but I feel like I need a break from Watchmen, and I do agree that Watchmen doesn't work as well with. Was Polaris in X-Men 97? I didn't hear that. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of these things have been done so much in other DC things. I sort of wish they would do something else, but I'm a little curious. But and also Watchmen is like, it works so perfectly as a comic. I sort of don't think a movie could ever do it, despite how good that comic is. But anyway, but so X-Men 97, I heard that it's going to be more about Storm and Wolverine running the team, which sounds cool. Jean's going to be visibly pregnant, supposedly. And Bishop's going to be on the team, and I believe the white guy-looking guy is Morph. I did watch the HBO show; it was great. The HBO Watchmen. Sorry, I shouldn't. But I am excited for it. We don't know a date for it at all. They release like action figures and stuff like that. The only thing, like the Storm Mohawk thing, I'm confused by, because like they don't change her costume ever. They're like so in love with the Jim Lee designs. And my thing with that is like, what? First off, make her hardcore punk. Like, I don't understand why they don't do that. And then like, it's not even a real Mohawk. Like, I've always been pro Storm Mohawk, but like, why do it in such a strange ass way? Like that's my big issue. Like let her be hardcore punk Storm. Like, I feel like hardcore punk like was cool and now isn't as cool. So maybe that's part of it. But I don't know. I wouldn't mind that. It sounds like Mr. Sinister is going to be behind a lot of stuff, and also that they're going to be. I agree with you, Carter. Right. And it seems like they're going to be doing more of like, because Magneto's running the team. Sounds like they're doing more 80s X-Men. My only sort of issue with that, now I haven't seen their execution, and I'm not against it just before, but I feel like. They should be doing modern X-Men. Like they used to do a mix of older X-Men and modern X-Men, and right now I'm just getting the older X-Men. I don't know the comics currently, but I hope they bring in some of the newer stuff, because that used to be something the show is pretty good at. But I do like what I've seen. I am curious about what they're doing. Everyone who's behind it sounds cool. I don't have any. Apparently, the Sunspot thing was controversial. I just am confused, like why he would be on an X-Men team. Like I would think Cannonball or Danny Moonstar, or like it's nothing to do with like it. X-Men is woke. I don't think that. I don't think that makes any sense. But it's nothing to do with that. I like Roberto DaCosta. But people kept posting Sunspot and then the voice actor's name. I'm like, wait, is that a different Sunspot? Like, what the fuck's going on right now? So if you see that, it is not, to my understanding, it is not a different character. I am excited for it to come out. I always heard early 2024, but they didn't release a date, so no one actually knows what's going on. So just for that. I'm going to talk about trailers and other Comic-Con stuff later, but I got to sort of move it from one bed to the other. Because of stuff, and I'll be right back. I'm sorry to take a break this early, but I will return shortly, and we will finish everything. I'm sorry. I had to mess around with the time, by the way, just because of timing, and I knew I'd have to. I wanted to give you guys a full show. And it was just hectic to even do this, so sorry about all that. But I will be right back, and then we will continue with the show. All right, cool. See you like 5 minutes at tops. Okay. Hello, I'm back. Sorry about that. Um, it's a long. Basically, one kid's having a sleep regression, and they, it's hard for the other kid to go to sleep, and they were sleeping in another bed, and I wanted to move them to their bed. Doesn't matter. Anyway, it seems like most of the voice actors are back. I know the original Wolverine voice actor is back. Um, yeah. Anyway, let's. I'm gonna have some of this Pepsi if you don't mind. I'm sorry. That was fun. I want to do the show. I miss doing this. I really like doing it. It's just one, for sort of the record on the whole thing. It's more of just exhaustion and things of that nature that keeps me from doing it. But I don't know. Part of me, my birthday's coming up, and I've sort of been thinking about trying to do this a little more often and figuring that out. So we're going to see about all that. But, I don't know. I don't want to promise anything. I don't like to promise dates with you guys because so often life changes those things. But let's talk about SAG is Red Bull but Coke. Yeah, that's probably true. All right, let's talk about the strike and Tom Cruise with the strike and all that. So you had the WGA was already on strike, as you know, for basically the same shit that SAG wanted to is also gone. There are no residuals because of streaming. There are no there are no residuals because of streaming. They're trying to be better at negotiating. Also because of streaming, what someone was saying today is like that you can make a show one season and they can like hold the next season over you for years, messing with both your availability and just your idea of like, I thought this show was going to work for me and things like that. But SAG authorized a strike. That day was one of the weirdest days I've seen in entertainment ever, because before that day, and maybe everyone forgot this, but nobody was really pro Fran Drescher. She has like very bad views on vaccines, but that I've seen we've forgotten about. But all her public interactions before that were terrible, were really bad. And Bob Iger was like an impeachable, like everyone was like, oh man, Bob Iger is so good at being like sort of this apolitical CEO. And then the day the SAG strike was authorized, literally 180s for both. I was like, Bob Iger said that? I was like, on record? On record, Bob Iger said that? I was like really shocked. And a lot of people said they had him take the hit, but I actually think he was that dumb. I was really shocked. And then Fran Drescher came out and like destroyed it with those speeches and her Bernie Sanders stuff. I'm usually pro Fran Drescher until some of the things she's done with SAG I do morally oppose. But look, she was in UHF and Spinal Tap. That lady sort of, and I watched The Nanny. She was a major part of my childhood. And when I used to work for a bunch of people a long time ago, we put on Spinal Tap so often. Like, she was just always on. And she always was a cool person to me. I sort of, but that really changed, I think, both of them. Bizarro World, that is true. That is true, Austin. And cheers to you. Cheers to you. It was a crazy day, but I think it also showed... Don't follow me, Pepsi. It also showed the AMPTA, which represents the studios and the producers. You can't fuck around with these people. Now, I think there's a common misconception. I hear it a lot in the public. I hear it from other people. That, oh, these stupid Hollywood writers, they don't know how to do anything. They make so much money. That is not what this is about on both actors and writers' sides. Most of these people, the comment that was published in the Hollywood Reporter before the Iger thing is they're waiting for these people to lose their homes and apartments, so they have to sign a deal. What I don't get about that is these people all have other jobs. Like, are you joking? Like, they're financially not dependent on you. That's the problem, you fucking idiots. Like, you've already, most of them admit to driving Uber, like, or Lyft, or having a restaurant job that they rely on for income, and you're telling me they're going to go broke? They're probably not. They have systems set up already because you fucked this over so much. Like, what? Like, I hear people saying, like, oh, these writers are going to have to work in Starbucks. They're already there. They're already there. This actor's already there. The writers are already there. This has already happened. Already, there's nothing has changed. Okay? It's hilarious to me that people are like, oh, they're really fucked now. I'm like, no, they're not. They are not. It is the studios that have fucked this up. This is the situation we're in. Like, fuck that shit. Like, everybody, I hear so many people say that. And I'm like, every writer I follow on Twitter is like, I have a second job, which I knew before the strike. Like, what is going on? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. Like, what the fuck? I don't get. It's like really easy to read an article where like everyone is like, yeah, I run like the guy wrote The Bear is like barely scraping by, and people are like, man, these Hollywood elites. I'm like, what Hollywood elites? Like, Tom Cruise is not he doesn't need SAG. He's still paying dues and being a part of it. Like, most of these Hollywood stars are. It's real stupid. Anyway, these are people who, like, what the point is like your everyday working people. If you have a problem with Hollywood elites and you're looking, if you're like the people who are getting fucked over are the working class people. That's their issue with it. That is the problem. Those are the majority who vote for these things. You know, if it was just Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, it doesn't matter to them. That's not and neither have been on the picket lines. Now, the Tom Cruise thing I do want to talk about because I think it sort of got like, it's gotten immensely misreported, which is kind of a theme with the TCM story also. But here's what he did basically. He was the only major movie star to actually talk to SAG directly. It seemed like there was kind of a lot of arrogance on certain parts because he is sort of Mr. Save Hollywood currently still. And what he argued was that theaters are not in good shape and they should still be able to promote movies to help the theater industry. Now, granted, people are like, well, he wants to help his movie, but it's also, and I agree with the pro Tom Cruise people, he's been working on this movie since 2020? Like, of course he wants to keep promoting his movie. It's not, I don't even think it's a financial thing. He's Tom Cruise. I'm sure he's fine. It's more just like he worked really hard on it and he wants to do this. he also brought up, but the thing is like, he, in that statement, and what's been reported is that he did not say just me, Tom Cruise, gets to do it. He wanted everyone. He wanted Margot Robbie. He wanted the Oppenheimer crew. He wanted, Haunted Mansion, all that stuff. Because one thing he understands, and this is something that goes into the streaming thing, by the way, is that we are not promoting movie stars like we used to. Like, one of the reasons Tom Cruise is a movie star and movie stars happen is not just because they have a big movie. It's because of that promotion and their posters being on sides of buses and stuff. Like, who Tom Cruise is, even if you didn't see some of those movies. And there was a big debate among industry press last summer, and I think I brought it up, that Mark Wahlberg movie, like Me Time or whatever, with Kevin Hart, was posting these huge numbers. It's a Mark Wahlberg movie with Kevin Hart. I forget whatever the fuck its name is. I didn't see it. But the point is that this is a movie with two major movie stars. No one's talking about it. And these movie stars, like Mark Wahlberg, people are like, is he still a movie star even though he has huge movies on Netflix? The promotional machine of the movie theaters is so much more, but it helps keep those people huge names. And what Tom Cruise is basically trying to say is like, we should let Margot Robbie become a big name. And I think that happened anyway, but I think he's like, let's add to that because he is the guy who invented, like, this isn't me being, I think Tom Cruise is weird, and I'm not trying to be a Tom Cruise apologist or something, but he is the guy who invented like the international press tour. He understands how the industry works, and I think he was advocating for that. If people were like, you should come on the picket line, but obviously, like, if you were to do that, you have to have security, things of that nature. Also, I think it's a little bullshit that like he put himself out there, and none of the other stars did, and he put himself in the crosshairs and is paying for it. But I think he had a point, basically, to help. So I don't know. No, I agree, Cornbread. We do have to make hard choices. I think what he was advocating was to help the industry as a whole, not help the AMPTA. I understand that gets lost in the shuffle, by the way. I do think also he should have done something to support SAG. Like, I think if you were to be given a special assignment, which A24 has, because they're not a major studio and stuff like that, and part of the MPTA or whatever, they got to do that. But I think a lot of people, I don't know, it got, I think he could have done something more, but he also like did talk to them about like the problems of doing that, which also they should hear as well. They should understand all the circumstances. I don't disagree with hearing people on a board. He didn't say don't strike, to my understanding. So, and he wasn't just doing a thing like that, but I understand people were like upset by that and all that thing. So, but he should be doing something. All the major stars show. Margot Robbie should have been on there. Ryan Gosling should have been up there. I mean, I don't know about Kelly Murphy, but Robert Downey Jr., I don't know if that would be the thing we think it was. But I think they should go on the picket line or just like make a video on Instagram and say, I just want to say like, hey, thank you for seeing Barbie, but the reason I wasn't out there is I support SAG, and please, send to the fund, the entertainment fund. I made a donation, things like that. Like, that's what I'm saying they should do. But I also I get what he was saying. And I get we need movie stars, and I think it was, I don't know. I think he could have done more, but I also think he had a point. That's all. And he's also weird. I've never thought he's not weird, by the way. Totally weird. But I think a lot of people are weird. I think most people are weird. Most stars. Name me one who's not weird. Other than, I can't think of one. Anyway, that's the thing. From what I hear is they want to finish up SAG around Labor Day and make the WGA wait as long as humanly fucking possible. I sort of don't even see that possible right now. I think this is going to go into the fall, possibly January right now. So, why are we congrating something? I'm missing something. Who are we congrating? Why are we I don't understand. Sorry. Hi, Austin. Been a while. Did I miss something? I think I missed something. Congrats Congrats. Oh, is it a novel? Am I missing it? Anyway, I'm glad you have a novel, though. Oh, as a writer, there's not much money in it, especially when you're writing for Hollywood. Oh, okay. Well, I think I'm seeing this out of order, and everyone's watching me read. But I want to say, congrats on your novel, and congrats on being creative. I think people, oh, that's really cool. Whenever there's a link to it, wherever it's sold, you have my permission to post it somewhere in. I think you can go in general. I hope that's okay, Austin. In this case, most time there's a support art thing, but I think because this has become a thing. But that is really cool, Blacksea. Congratulations. That is amazing. Tell us what the novel is, by the way, if you would like to. But if there's not a title, let me know. I also need to tweet out. Austin did a go to live chat. What do you mean? Austin did a thing with Sinram, which I've been meaning to tweet out. It's been a crazy couple of weeks here. Anyway, let's get into trailers. Oh, well, still, that's a thing you did, and that's awesome. I don't care if it's not published. You did a fucking cool job. You should be proud of that. You know how many times like I do just part of a video and I'm like, you should, and it's like, just be happy you accomplished something. That's really cool. Be happy you did it, especially, anyway, I've been thinking about that as my birthday's coming up. I've been thinking about like, you know what, we should all just be making stuff. That's making whatever our stuff is. Cause I think, I don't know, we need more art in this world, to be honest with you. Catbot keeps posting this tree law thing. I will say the tree controversy of Universal has done some fuckery with the picket lines, but the tree situation that they prune trees, but they had Universal, this is a real story, had arbiters, professional arbiters who were doing it, but it finds out they didn't have the city ordinance to trim their trees. I'm sorry, what the I also loved all these Hollywood Reporter, all of them, the people who wrote these stories were also like, why are we writing 5 articles on this? I'm like, I don't know, guys. Why the fuck are you? Anyway. Let's get into trailers. And then I want to talk about a bunch of bigger stories. Oh, hey, as told by Gonzo. Hey, what's up, Jim? Longtime fan. Love your film content and family photos on Facebook. Take care. Thank you. I don't really post that many, so I'm sorry about that part. But cheers to you, and thank you for watching for so long and liking the content. I appreciate that. As told by Gonzo. That is a cool name, and cheers to you. Okay, let's get into a couple trailers. I like the creator trailer. I've liked what I've seen from that. That is the comeback of... Man, I can name... See, this is a problem when my film friends laugh at me, because I can describe like everything about someone and then not know their name. And the guy who did Monster, Godzilla, and Rogue One, and he's finally back. And by the way, I will support, and almost everyone I've heard interviews with Rogue One has said, like, of any director who did reshoots, he was totally on board and helpful, and not many directors would be as helpful and understanding and as cool and level-headed as he was. So even though it didn't work, I think he deserves a little respect for that, but whatever. But he did The Creator with John David Washington. It's coming out at the end of September. It looks legitimately really cool. I'm actually very excited for that. I know there's a lot of hype, and I think after what we saw with Barbie and Oppenheimer, I think maybe people are more into like original, different ideas. And I've been wanting to see what he would do after Rogue One for a while. I was hoping he didn't get director's jail because I didn't think Gareth Edwards. Sorry, you know what? I also get his name confused with the guy who does The Raid. Anyway, Ron Howard. Nice one. But The Creator looks like a great trailer. The One Piece trailer, I've never watched One Piece, but like, why are there certain weird like shots with everyone's faces, and it looked like very heightened, stylized, and part of me is for it, but I know when the show comes out, it won't be as heightened and crazy as the trailer. So it just looks like a bunch of anime live action mess to me. I don't know. It just I never watched that show, but just didn't look great. The Migration trailer, Not a bad concept now that I know the concept. I'm a little surprised they didn't go. There's another trailer I'm talking about after that didn't go concept first, second you learn more about the plot. But Aquafina's in it. Like, how many fucking times do I gotta hear her in a kids movie? Like, no more. Stop it. Like, how come she was good in The Farewell and like literally nothing else? Like, it is remarkable how she had like a perfect dramatic career and gave it up to do the worst shit imaginable. I'm so sick of. That really killed the trailer for me. It looks kind of fun. Other than that, maybe my kids will see it. I don't know. We'll see. Gareth Davis of Lion. Oh my god, look at all this. The Rick and Morty anime actually look cool. I might end up. I didn't really get. I want to try to do more Adult Swim stuff review wise. I might end up just reviewing that because I kind of, I can't review Rick and Morty at this point. It's sort of gone. And I've kind of lost interest in Rick and Morty and that. And I was like, I don't know. I'm kind of into that. Man, people are getting ads. I'm really sorry. I was only going to do it. I didn't do an ad at the break, the impromptu break. So, what was the other thing I watched? Shit. Hold on. I watched an Adult Swim thing. The Lazarus trailer from the creator of Cowboy Bebop and Chad Stahelski of John Wick fame. I'm sorry, this looked amazing to me. I'm very hyped for that. I don't know what it's about at all. Maybe you do, but this was a great trailer, and I didn't know everyone who was involved, and it seemed really cool. I'm very excited for that, actually. I might end up reviewing that. But I wanted to talk about the Marvels trailer. I'm actually pro this movie. I thought the first trailer was great. It was more of a concept trailer than Marvel usually does the plot or, hey, he's back kind of trailer. And they did a concept trailer, and I was excited for that. And actually, the Marvels is at the Happy Meal toy at McDonald's right now, which is strange. I don't understand that. You'll probably see a tweet go out later, and then you can say, I remember we talked about this. But, and Oscar got the cat, and Sophie got the cat, got upset because it wasn't one of the Marvels. But I was all for this, and everyone I knew was all for this. But this trailer was not edited very well. I do not really like this trailer. I knew it was going to be some stock basic villain. That was not my issue with it. It's just very cut up to all shit. It didn't make me want to see the movie more. To be honest, it gave me the reverse opinion. I really didn't like the second trailer. I'm still like, I already have plans to take Sophie. We're going to go. She's excited, to be honest. She likes, she likes Ms. Marvel. She knows Captain Marvel. She doesn't really know Monica Rambeau yet. So I think that's going to be the bigger. And it seems like most kids don't know her, who I've talked to, who are excited for it, don't know who she is. So I think I'm actually kind of curious how they're going to market her specifically, because she was on not a kid show. It's not, it's nothing to do with like kids weren't interested. They're like, who is this lady? Like nobody's going to let their 5-year-old watch WandaVision. So, but I like the concept. I think it's a cool thing. I just thought that trailer was too edited and cut up and stuff. I actually really like the first trailer. So I don't know. I think they should stick to the first one if you ask me. But I'm still for the movie. Just didn't like the advertising. But sometimes I'm wrong. I didn't like the ads for How to Train Your Dragon. Now it's one of my favorite movies. Goose in the comics. That's his name. Okay. I think we have it somewhere. It's going to be in the picture when I do the... I wanted to tweet out a thing like, this is the Happy Meal right now, because I thought it was so bizarre. All right. Oh, yeah. So the Uzumaki thing... Uzumaki. I don't really know that very well, so I didn't want to review it because I didn't want to go, looks neat or something, and I should understand that more. So maybe I'll do a deep dive into that research-wise myself later. But anyway, I'm just admitting my own ignorance. I just don't know, so I didn't want to look stupid and all that. So Christopher Nolan... No, I'm already doing it. Christopher Nolan admitted in an interview that it's very obvious he likes Bond. Like, it's overbearing, called it embarrassing and things like that. Of course, he would like to direct one. Two things about this. One, I think Skyfall is an incredibly Bond-influenced... Sorry, Skyfall is an incredibly Christopher Nolan-influenced James Bond movie. So artistically, I don't know if the Bond movies need another Christopher Nolan thing unless he's going to bring a sci-fi element into it. I had heard when they were having discussions with Craig, and it was like a pretty big reporters who I trust all said that there has been a major rumor that they had heard from people that Christopher Nolan pitched a Tom Hardy is, let me just do a Bond, Tom Hardy's Bond kind of thing. I don't know how true that was, but the people who said it were not the kind of people who just are like, I'm just going to throw out a rumor. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. He was like, yeah, I'm definitely influenced by Bond. I'm not going to hide it and everything like that. I was like, yeah, it's very true. So, you know, I think I don't know. I think if he got to do it, he could do a good job with it, especially if he had sci-fi elements. But we'll see. Hold on. The Wesleyator said, "Let's say Indiana Jones had been a James Bond type character that got a new actor roughly every decade. Who do you think would have played him?" Oh, okay. That, you know what? Okay, that's a really good question. Let me just do '90s first. Cheers to you. Um, if it was the '90s, I almost want to go Van Damme, but I actually think because Sam Neill sort of was his replacement in Jurassic Park. If you watch my video, you know. But sorry, uh, I almost want to say that, but I think that would have worked well. I don't know. Maybe I would actually go like Bruce Campbell and go cheesier. And 2000s. Who would be the Harrison? God, it would probably end up being fucking Ben Affleck or something. But if it was the 2000s, maybe it would have been Craig. I think Craig could have done it. I'm doing this off the seat of my pants, but I would have gone Bruce Campbell would have been second. But then you need a Bruce Campbell type. And who would be a Bruce Campbell type? Man, you know what? If you kept evolving it in a goofy way, John Cena could have done it. Fuck. The West End, you're so right. Nathan Fillion. Oh, you could have done Harrison Ford, Bruce Campbell, Nathan Fillion. No, you could have done Bruce Campbell, Brendan Fraser. Every decade, change it. Go Harrison Ford, Bruce Campbell, Brendan Fraser. Would have been amazing. Oh, fuck. You really blew up my mind there. All right. It would have been somebody, one decade we would have got as somebody real bad. That's my fear. It would have been somebody real shitty. All right. So the Aquaman, are we going to do it that way? Yeah, okay. So the Danny Elfman things, my thing with it, I do think he probably did something he shouldn't have done. I know people have had a weird, don't want to accept this. It seems to have left the news cycle because I think people don't really want to deal with it. But he basically like had a colleague who's being sexually, sexually harassing. He definitely masturbated in front of her. I guess I shouldn't say that because of YouTube or something. I'm sorry. But he basically did things he shouldn't have done in front of her. And there was a payout and he missed 2 payments. And apparently they've been asking for these 2 payments and he hadn't given them. I think the thing with this is the only, because people have poked holes in this, and I like to, in my mind, you trust the victims unless you have any proof. The only proof you have is like the dates that he didn't make payments of the settlement were sort of random, and that seemed a little odd to me. On both their cases, like why would you just not pay these 2? Like it'd be one thing if it was just like the last 2, but it just seemed like these random 2 dates, which I was confused about. But I do think it's like if him saying, oh, well, I just paid her out so she'd be quiet, I don't really buy that either. I very much think something definitely happened. It's sad because Danny Elfman is so a part of so many different things that I love and music that I love. And it's sad that this happened. I don't know of there wasn't other allegations of other people that came through that. So I don't think it is as much of a pattern. I think it was just an isolated, to my limited understanding as of right now, an isolated incident. But I hope that it doesn't happen again. I do think he should have paid this person so it didn't get all the way to Rolling Stone if he wants to be responsible about this whole thing, which in my mind he wasn't, because he missed 2 fucking payments, and because he did, there was a breach of contract, and thus she could do that. So to me it's like, I very much think he did something wrong. I do think there's some of the evidence seems weird, but it seems like he's sort of a weird dude, and I don't know. I don't love how that all happened, and I hope that he, seeks some help or reasons with himself, or doesn't let him do something like this again, because it's not to me so much he cheated on his wife or something. It's more that he was jerking off in front of people and told them it's his creative process. That just come on, man. That's bullshit. Come on. And if you're gonna, what I don't get is just do that. Just go to the bathrooms. I don't understand why people do that in front of people. That's gross. There's so many places you can go and just do that where nobody knows what you just did. And they're like, oh, I guess he took a long dump or something. I don't understand. I never understand that when I hear about people doing that. I'm like, you're just an asshole. Nobody, unless they are into that or something. I don't know. I never get that. I just don't. There's so many things in life where you're couldn't people just be more understand? I don't know. Not for him to do that, but just get nobody wants to see you do that. Anyway, sorry. Everybody's what are we? Anyway, Danny Elfman was accused of basically sexual assault and did do a massive payout, which was proven in court that I guess he did do that and missed 2 payments, and the woman spoke to Rolling Stone. That's basically what happened. I hope Danny Elfman, I just hope he seeks help, and I hope this is an isolated incident and he isn't have a line of people. But I never saw when most of these people are sort of canceled or whatever, it seemed like it popped up and it disappeared. Maybe he has the money to do that. Maybe he has a ton of NDAs. I don't know, but whatever. Anyway, moving on. I feel when I have to talk about these things, I feel people should know. So, the Master of the Universe movie is dead at Netflix. I think this, I don't want to say this was misreported, but I don't think it was fully reported. And what I mean by that is, obviously, Netflix has a lot of investment in Master of the Universe and He-Man because, as we all know, Danny Elfman was in Oingo Boingo, by the way. Not, you're thinking of Mark Mothersbaugh. Because they have Master Universe Revelations. They have that other, was it Power of the Sword or something that was for kids? They have concurrently 2 He-Man shows, as well as the previous She-Ra. So Netflix has a lot of money in He-Man. So I get why they're oh, well, let's do the live action thing with the guy from For All the Boys I Kissed or whatever. I only saw the first one. I know there's a lot of them, but so they canceled it. They lost $30 million. Now, $30 million, by the way, is what supposedly they're talking about because they bought the development from Sony, who people say spent $60 million. So it probably was upwards of maybe $90 million spent on a Master Universe movie nobody ever saw. Pretty much. But look, Netflix, it wasn't working out. Nobody really liked where it was going. They had to have hold on all the talent, which is why it ended up costing them so much. But the other thing is I get why they were investing in it, because He-Man is still selling toys at fucking Target and stuff. It's still a big brand, and a lot of people are acting man, Netflix is wasting money. I do think they're wasting money, but I also think there's a reason they bought it is because they're well, we have all of Masters of Universe. We want movie of that. But I think we all know why they didn't do it is because how could you ever be better than a movie I saw when I was 5 and my mom took me? So, of course, nothing will be as good. And they were look, he embraced Willow and he made the video, but will he like this as much as Dolph Lundgren? And you're right, Netflix. I wouldn't have accepted it. No, I'm sorry, I'm being stupid. But what this does mean is Dolph is undefeated, greatest live action He-Man in movie history still. Way to go, Dolph Lundgren. Congrats. You are still the greatest Dolph Lundgren in movie history. You're still the greatest Dolph Lundgren, and you're still the greatest He-Man. No one can beat He-Man. live action other than Dolph Lundgren. I defy you to come up with anyone better. Maybe the stage show. There was a stage show. Look up that shit. Not a joke. Thundercats 2 and Silverhawks, I think. So Aquaman. I think we have two things, and then I might not take a break. I might just go into Ametheyst. Oh, we have TCM. Oh my god, that's a whole thing. Fuck. Aquaman reshoots. So the thing with these reshoots that makes it fascinating is we have one Batman, which is the Ben Affleck Batman, which was shot for it, and they cut out. And then, this is a real thing, by the way, they shot a different Batman, which was Michael Keaton, and then they cut that out. So there's no Batmans in this, but they've shot two Batmans for it, and they kept reshooting things because they wanted this to be a good movie, supposedly. I don't really understand what the fuck is going on with Aquaman. I know because the last one made $1 billion, they have a lot of faith in this, but apparently it's plagued by reshoots. Blue Beetle is also not tracking very well, which isn't a huge surprise, to be honest with you, because I don't think Blue Beetle's that big of a name, and I think the era of launching characters who were not big in comic books into successful movies is gone. Like, you only got... I think when Guardians of the Galaxy happened, people were like, oh, you know what you can do? You can launch these things. And I don't think it's worked out. I do think the Blue Beetle reviews, I've heard decent things and stuff, but we'll see. It does seem like the public is like not so much into the DC stuff. So I don't know, but we haven't really even... Have we seen trailers for Aquaman 2? I don't believe so. But also... And I guess I didn't talk about this, is Warner keeps threatening to push movies back. The only movie that got pushed back was the Challengers, I believe. Everything else pretty much stayed the same. They're just threatening it. I think Aquaman you should just put out, because at this point you're not going to... You need to get that over and done with and have some break between that and Superman. But we'll see if they actually... I think that's just a fucking shitty idea. But... we'll see about that. The other Warner's thing, before I wanted to talk about TCM, is the Venture Brothers have a movie coming out. I think it's out. I forget. I'm going to see it at least and review it. But with all that and all this talk of Venture Brothers, and there's more tweets and people rewatching it, HBO Max decided they're going to take it off on August 11th, which Jackson Public seems to have not known about, which is crazy. I don't actually understand what they're trying to do with Venture Brothers at this point. Like, why did you let them make a movie if you're gonna just do that? I don't really get that, but we'll see. I just don't really understand Max's strategy, especially when something's just launching. You know, like another thing. Like, if they're gonna do maybe September or October or something like that, but like right after, like that just seems way too quick. I think that's a little silly. I heard about the Cartoon Network Studios thing. To be honest, Cartoon Network Studios has been winding down. I know people who work there, I don't know. And the famous like halls and all that stuff. I never got to visit there. I've never been to LA, so it's not a... I'm sure I could have, and I didn't. But I think it's sad that it's gone. I think Warner's is moving in a different direction. I hope it works out. No one really knows, as many of those people have said on Twitter and Instagram and stuff. But it is sad to see an institution go. I think people are looking... regardless of if we have 10 good years of cartoons and everything works out, and we have the same auteurism with Cartoon Network, it was still an end of an era. Like, that is an end of a fucking era. I do not care what anyone says. It is not just about... Like, that to me is like closing a book on something. And having all those people came out showed that Cartoon Network represented a lot to a lot of people. And it wasn't just a silly network. I think honestly with you, I think Nickelodeon has not represented that in a long time, but Cartoon Network has represented that for almost all of its time. So, Hold on. There's one other thing, and I almost forgot to put it. Face goes. Okay, so George Lowe has not been feeling too great currently. Um, MC Chris gave an update recently that George Lowe has had some various health issues. He's doing okay, but he's sort of been not on the Facebook and not updating as much. But he hasn't been in good health, but he's doing okay. So thoughts and prayers, I guess, for him. But also sad to hear a voice who very much Space Ghost is one of those shows that got me into making cartoons and all that stuff. And it's sad to hear everything's gone, especially just talking about the Cartoon Network stuff. I think he was an essential part of that, and I hope he is doing better. I doubt he's seeing this, but George Lowe was and always an inspiration to me, and that Space Ghost, I think, is one of the most important cartoons of all time, and maybe probably one of the most important talk shows of all time as well. So here's how the rest of the show is going to go. Turner Classic Movies stuff, Memorial, Obits, quick. I think I might just go into Ametheyst and questions, then we'll close out around 11. So, the Turner Classic Movies thing, I know I didn't get to talk about it last time, and there is some misreporting in this that a couple of people have been bringing this up, so I wanted to as well. But what we were told is David Zaslav fired basically most of the programming team, which had a huge amount of them. Then the next day, what we were told is that Scorsese, Spielberg, and Paul Thomas Anderson came to him and had an emergency meeting to figure out what to do with the channel, and they brought the programming guy who made it what it was back, and they were going to be guests, they were going to be kind of overseers of the whole thing. So what really happened is Turner Classic Movies was probably more expensive than it needed to be, and Zaslav basically had to make cuts because the linear TV channel is not doing as well as it should. Do I like that he did that to people who are for film preservation? Fuck no. Why don't you save money on one of those channels I never watch? But I think if it was Zaslav or not, it was going to have to happen at a certain point. Unfortunately, that's just the reality of the business. I'm not trying to advocate firing those people because I think they all do amazing jobs and have done amazing things for film preservation. And I'm not trying to just say, like, business-wise that I think you should be fired. I think business-wise there's other things you can do with TCM, which I will get into in a second. But what had happened was there was always the plan to bring in Spielberg, Scorsese, and Paul Thomas Anderson. They did not call him. He called them. Almost every reporter on most podcasts have said, why was this reported differently? I don't know. Clearly what happened was David Zaslav and having that GQ puff piece or GQ sort of takedown on him pulled. He has some power over the press, and he's clearly using it. But my certain issues with it is like people who, like, if you see a thing that I made called Night at the Cartoon Carnival about Tommy Stathis, who's a great cartoon collector in New York. He used to do things with Turner Classic Movies. His contact is gone. I know a lot of old film collectors who, when the TCM gutting happened, even with the old programming guy back, they lost their contact. So a lot of film collectors who are bringing rare and stuff that, like, is historically classic to Turner Classic Movies, they don't have a connect at Turner Classic Movies, and that stuff will probably not air that as much because the staff has been dramatically shrunk. From my understanding, if you watch the channel, none of this was evident to you. Nothing has really changed. That's what I hear. My cable, unfortunately, the one we had to switch to, doesn't have Turner Classic Movies, but I barely have the time to watch TV that's not for this. So that I watch Turner Classic Movies is a big part of my film education. If you have Turner Classic Movies, I recommend you watch it. They still have the show The Essentials. 100%, I'm telling you this right now. If you have a DVR and you have Turner Classic Movies, just every Saturday at 8 o'clock, record whatever movie that is. They were always good. They're always important. Even if you don't like it, it's worth watching. I'm 100% serious about that. But my main things with this is the Adult Swim executive who ran Turner Classic Movies for a little bit in an interim period has been brought in again to run it. He's done really good stuff with Adult Swim. I think we can all agree what's going on with Adult Swim has seemed to have been a positive. I think that is going to be good for Turner Classic Movies. He seems to really understand this IP stuff in a way that works well and be able to talk to the executives. To me, that's like a good executive. We need to be, as much as we hate David Zaslav, people who can get David Zaslav to work for him are people I want running this shit. And like, you look at the success of My Adventures with Superman, if that was on Cartoon Network, it would not get the same press, 100%. Like, I'm not trying to be silly. Same with a lot of different cartoons that we're hearing more about because he's put that investment into that network. So I do think we're in a better path than people want to say that we are. Now, I do agree having 3 like white directors. Like, a lot of people are like, well, where is Spike Lee, who's like very into film preservation, who's made no comment on this at all. I'm a little surprised by that, to be honest. But there are other black directors who are not Spike Lee, by the way. We can also ask them. Although Spike Lee's like a fucking genius. I actually, like, I was a little like, well, where is Spike Lee though? I would like other directors and other creative film people to swap out Spielberg, Scorsese, and Paul Thomas Anderson maybe every year. We have different voices at the helm. I think that would be good. That is my cat. I'm sorry. He's okay. My other cat went to hug him. He just coughed a little, and then he has sort of anxiety things. But Toulouse took care of Buster, and I'm watching it. And sorry, anyway. But I think my one thing with Turner Classic Movies is this. Turner Classic Movies help with this channel. If you've ever seen my William Wallman series, it's okay if you haven't. You can check out a playlist. I did most of the filmography, or every film of his that I possibly could, of William Wellman's, mainly because of Turner Classic Movies, because I could go on their website and I'd see like, when is the next time a William Wellman film's going to play. I'd set it to DVR and I could watch it, and that was the only time I could watch that movie. And if you go to Max and watch Turner Classic Movies, oh, you got bingo? I'm very curious to check out this bingo. It's just like The Godfather and Citizen Kane, and it's like, I want people to see those movies, but like, have the obscure classic films that we can't find anywhere else. Like, what's the point of having Turner Classic Movies on these things if you can't facilitate all those things? And I sort of wish, if you're going to have all those programming people, put them on doing interesting things with the streaming service, because they used to do things that were like, hey, we have a cool movie at 4 a.m. We knew it wasn't going to do well at 8, but we really like this movie. Go check it out and DVR it. And I think like they could have done more with it. So that's my only issue with Turner Classic Movies currently, is like, why are you not brought over to the streaming area, whereas something like Adult Swim is? That's the other thing I like about Michael Llewellyn, I believe, who also did the Bird Girl show and stuff, is like, I feel like maybe that can be a thing he does with Turner Classic Movies on Max, is make that stronger. Because like, if you're gonna, one of my things that I hate about HBO Max currently, or Max, is like, when I heard about the Discovery deal, I was more for it because I thought, oh, well, this will facilitate multiple different audiences hitting one streaming service. And they're not doing a very good job of that, especially on the Turner Classic Movies side. And I think like, you could do that if you ran Turner Classic Movies better and brought the same expertise they're bringing to the channel over. So that's my main issue with it currently. I think David Zaslav, I think because Turner Classic Movies is so well regarded in so many households. Yeah, if you don't watch Turner Classic Movies, check out TCM Underground, check out The Essentials, just start DVRing some shit, because you can find some good stuff on there. Anyway, or if you don't have Turner Classic Movies, just find their schedule and just find the movies some other way. I don't know. All right. I think I did everything. I don't know. I like the beard. So, all right. So, I don't have a ton of, I can't really keep up with everything that happened with this show. I kind of just try to talk about what's happening at the time, because doing pickup is like, gets a little confusing. But Tony Bennet died, I believe it was Friday. One of the great singers of our time. But also, I gotta say this about him. Most of the reason I know who he is because, unlike people like Sinatra, unlike various other singers, he always met my generation and other generations that he got to interact with in this. I agree with you on the TCM thing, Carter. Right? On the same level and was like decent and nice and sang along and all those things. And I think when you have someone who does that, you have a legacy like he did, going for everything from Lady Gaga to Sesame Street to everything he did, and having a comeback through MTV. And he's a guy from the 50s. Like that, I think one of the things that I always wanted to do as I got older is be accepting of new generations and being able to understand it and take lessons from them as much as maybe I can give a few lessons or just understand what they're doing. If you're going to exist in these times, let's try to interact and meet people and understand what they're doing. And I think that, I don't know, I think a lot of people don't do that, unfortunately. So, just RIP to Tony Bennett, a real loss. I think we all knew he was on poor health because of the 60 Minutes piece and stuff, but man, you know. And I also, you know what? I love that Lady Gaga Tony Bennett period. I thought that was really cool that she was like, my popularity's down. I think I'm going to just hang with him. I thought that was immensely cool. Like, I really like that. So, anyway, RIP. Let's not take a break. I want to just get into Ametheyst of the Gem World for you. I think I want to just get into that, and then we'll just do questions, and we'll close it out around 11. Thank you for being here on a Sunday night. I know it's a different night. I am going to try to do more of these, to be honest with you, because I really do like doing this, and I like, even though it is just me talking in a room by myself here, I actually do like, I like talking to a room by myself. No, I like talking to you guys about the stuff. So, all right. So, Ametheyst. So this is another DC short review. Hold on. All right. So this is another DC short review. It is Ametheyst, Princess of Gemworld. Now, this has nothing to do with Steven Universe, so don't use this no one I knew from this show watched it when I watched it, so we can not go into that one. But Ametheyst, Princess of Gemworld was one of the DC shorts that I was actually a big fan of when I was watching DC shorts, much like when I talked about the Aardman or DC's World's Funniest. This has nothing to do really with the actual DC character, who I was unaware of before I watched these. And if you never are like, I don't know who this person is, don't worry. These shorts have not much to do with her. It is actually about a ordinary girl who is, I believe, and these things go real fast, by the way, I believe is making her own video game, then gets sucked into the video game, becomes sort of a princess who's fighting bad guys and stuff to save, like, basically this, the prince of this, like, frog town or whatever, is sucked into it. And the whole thing is just one story of her, you know, basically gets sucked into the video game, has to save this prince. And it's a lot of fun, actually. It was a kind of cool series. It sort of reminded me at the time, this is before the Netflix She-Ra, of the old She-Ra. And it, I always liked the animation. It would, like, had a lot of detail and great movement in it. I like the idea of someone being sucked into a video game and becoming a warrior. Sort of a Last Starfighter type of vibe, I would say. I actually did show it to my daughter, and she was really into it. She was a little surprised, like, this thing moves. Like, it is 9 minutes in total, but it really moves. But I do remember when I was watching it, this was one of my favorites. I was always happy when this came on. I think they let you DVR them individually, and I think I did that with it or something. But I always thought it was a cool idea, like, that she, and, like, some of the visuals are very, like, simple, and they understood what parts of the story to tell exactly. But, like, the actual Ametheyst is, like, a totally different story. It's, like, a girl who, like, wasn't told she was from a gem world and then, like, brought in, and then she wanted to go back, and, like, all this is, like, this is literally nothing to do with it, which is pretty funny that, like, it's part of the DC thing. But it's also, like, a great concept, like, someone being sucked into a video game and being a hero, kind of like, I guess the Super Mario movie. But, well, no, he's not, he's sucked into a world. It's not a video game in his mind. But yeah, I guess Gran Turismo is the last Starfighter. Although Gran Turismo is apparently based on a real story. But it has Sophie Oda as Ametheyst, as Eric Bouza, I think, who does a lot of voices for like Bugs Bunny and stuff. But it's really just a nice, cool little girl kind of story, like warrior kind of story. It wraps around very nicely. I have there's going to be, this is for the people and this is a separate video, guys, sorry. There's going to be a link below for the playlist of all of them. There's one there where it's all cut together. They had some like black spots in it between them, which I don't love, so I just recommend watching the playlist. No offense to the person who cut them all together. Anyway, for people to watch this is really cool. I thought this was a really neat. I always just thought this was really neat. I thought it was a cool like adventure idea, and I like the character of Ametheyst because oftentimes she's like, "Oh, if I was going to do this in a game, how would I do it?" And like you kind of see her arc, and like you see how she's uncomfortable with it, but also having cool action sequences at the same time, which I think very few things can do as well as this did. I know this was made by basically someone who doesn't direct a lot, actually. Brienne Dohard, who directed all 7 episodes and ended up working on DC Superhero Girls and in the art. She does a lot of art department stuff more often than directing. She did Santiago of the Seas. She directed 5 episodes of DC Superhero Girls and a short called Harpy Gee. I don't know what that is, actually. Oh, that looks cool. Maybe I should review that later. What's Harpy Gee? Is that like a... That looks cool. We might review that later. Anyway, I liked how kind of girly this was. Kind of reminded me of the girl shows of the 80s and stuff. While also just being a total video game thing. And one of the things I liked about the DC shorts specifically is it showed the wide range that DC could do. Probably better than they do now because they just try to do, you know, serious stuff. And I think this shows all the cool things that you could do with DC and these comic book characters. So I really like this. I always was excited when I could see a new one and showing it to my daughter, and she was really into it. But it moves really fast. But I was trying to explain to her, she was like, how come we're not seeing is it's Heart PG. Oh, I didn't know that. Maybe I'll watch it. It's based on her webcomic. I didn't know she had a webcomic. That makes sense. Good for her. But my daughter did ask me, like, how does Ametheyst get to these various locations? Because she just said action sequence. And I had to explain, like, this was done really quickly. But I am disappointed. Like, I know Teen Titans got to be a show based on this. Based on the DC shorts and their success. But I sort of wish that this had been the show. At the time, this was kind of the thing. I was like, I don't know. I think this is the most potential. I wish it had been a movie or something. Like, it really does feel like something you could expand upon and do more with that character. It feels like we're getting like a proof of concept trailer almost with this show. But it's really great. I think it is a thing that got, like, when you talk about the DC shorts, and this all happened because I worked on the Saber video about Teen Titans, and I was like, man, I should really talk about these because I liked watching them. I was a fan of them. And this is one that gets completely pushed under the rug a lot. And I think it is probably one of the better ones, much like the Aardman one, but I think I like them both for separate reasons. This shows the potential and the animation potential DC really has and what wide range of cool stuff they can make with it. And taking a character like Ametheyst and making this like, really this has nothing to do with Ametheyst, I don't think, but it's so good, the comic book character, but it's so good at it. I really do quite like it, and I highly recommend it. If you've never seen it, I think it's one of the better and one of my favorite DC shorts, and I think it shows you the potential and the fun and the idea of the concept of being stuck in the video game and trying to figure it out. And a girl who would never be able to do those things in real life. I think it is like all the great fantasy worlds put together into a great, cool, fantastical fantasy story animation. All right. I hope that wasn't too long. I'm going to drink a little bit of this. I'm going to answer some questions. It was the most popular one on Tumblr? I didn't know that. I was on Tumblr. Nobody told me. Man, I didn't know that. I didn't hear about fucking Super Hulak. I didn't get to hear about Ametheyst. What is this world? All right. We're going to do 3 Patreon questions, then we'll do the other ones. Jordan Bashard, what are some live-action animated shows you've been watching lately? I am watching My Adventures with Superman with Sophie. That's been cool. I've actually been I've been watching the end of the last season of Venture Brothers because I was like, man, how do I not remember this? And then I looked on the date and I was like, 2018. Oh yeah, that's maybe why I'm a little hazy on the Venture Brothers, where we left off. My wife and I just finished the other 2, which I really liked. I didn't actually realize I was watching the last episode till the very end. I was like, oh, this was it? Okay. What else? I'm watching What We Do in the Shadows, season whatever we're on. We're watching the new Blueies. My daughter just watched the Babysitters Club, and I really like that show on Netflix. Really good. So I think that's sufficient. And all the stuff that I'm watching. I'm watching X-Men, classic show, stuff like that. Nathaniel Foga, similar to Barbie and Oppenheimer, what are 2 films you're surprised came out around the same time in theaters? The only kind of films that came out all at the same time thing that always surprised me, and I guess this is so much of a dorky film question, and I talked about this, I believe I talked about it in my auteur theory video. If not, it was researched where I found it out, is because France in World War II didn't get what was considered one of Hollywood's great periods from like 1939 to the early 40s. When the war was over, pretty much all these films came out within like a year of each other. So like within a month you got Citizen Kane and then Casablanca and all these things. Like you got, like, in all seriousness, some of the greatest films of classic Hollywood all at once. And like Godard and Truffaut became like huge movie lovers. And I always think how like that is what actually, and I'm not joking, made like Sight and Sound, or not Sight and Sound, the film magazine that Auteur Theory came out of, and I know what it is, but I can't. Anyway, it to me that's like one of the all-time, like, you show people enough good movies, they blow up. 1999, I can specifically say, where it was like Being John Malkovich, Three Kings, Fight Club, like all within like a month of each other. At the same weekend, I remember Dogma and Pokemon the same weekend. I remember Rise of the Guardians and Life of Pi, which sounded insane at the time. I think that's everything. I think those are good. I hope that's good. Austin says, "Hey Jim, what a great show on a Sunday." What a great show on a Sunday. My question for you is, I saw some people on Twitter post how Greta Gerwig doing a superhero movie, and someone suggested a DC Animal Man movie starring Ryan Gosling. How would you feel about this? What would you see her do after Barbie? To be clear, I do think she's doing Narnia after Barbie. I also think I would like her to do something smaller, although I think she wants to do a big thing and a small thing and so forth, and use her auteur name for something cool. But an Animal Man movie, I haven't seen Barbie yet, so I think like why people are saying that is the first question Jacob Slater? I hope it is. Okay. I would like her to do something small again, because I think that's more of what I like her to. I don't... People were like, oh, you're just disappointed because it's a woman or something. We're disappointed because once you have a name and they can launch smaller movies, you don't want them to go into the bigger thing. But I like that she's doing her own original big movie. I think that's actually pretty... With Barbie, at least. I think what is probably going to be... I don't know. I don't mind her doing IP as much, but I would like her to do like something like a big, one of her movies, like Mistress America is one that she stars in and wrote, and I wouldn't mind her and Baumbach doing. I guess they do still collaborate. God. Superhero wise, you know what? I know this is me tying things in. If she took the Ametheyst of the Gemworld DC short and made a movie of that, that would be really cool. I think she should do that. I'm sorry. That fits too well for me. Even though I have not seen Barbie, so take that, but I think that would be cool. So if she wants to have me play a YouTube video that she can access herself as her next project, and I'll show it to her and say, this is pretty cool. You could cast Saoirse Ronan in this, probably. That sounds cool, actually. Okay, I think that worked out. All right. Question: is the new season of Futurama any good, or should I just watch My Adventures with Superman? I have not watched any of the Futurama. I might do a short that's like I watched it. I don't know. I've not liked as much of the post after the cancellation of Futurama as I like the original. So I've never really been a huge fan of that. To me, Adventures of Superman is just good, and you should just keep watching that. Not plausible. Since you're wearing a regular shirt, blah. Since you're wearing a regular show shirt, do you think Benson is a good boss? I think I've had a lot of bosses worse than Benson, so I would prefer him to a lot of people. Um, I think honestly, in the end, and I'll tell you this about bosses: a boss that like actually sort of gives a shit about you is better than a boss. I understand why he yells and is short tempered, but I think he actually cares about them. I think he is more good boss than bad boss, but he needs to work on his temper. Do Mordecai and Rigby rile him up? That is also true. So that's my opinion on that, honestly. But I'm more of a Mordecai and Rigby than a Benson, in honest, to be honest. Um, has anyone cheered whenever Einstein shows up in Oppenheimer? I've heard people have, but my beard is very soft today. Nathaniel Fogger, do you miss Red Bull? I do. This was not. The others are like me trying to not do the Red Bull thing, and this is more that I should have taken care of this earlier. And I didn't want to not do this or be late or anything like that. So I do kind of miss it. I think I might bring it back. I need to do more of these, and maybe anyway, we'll see. Cornbread. I assume not, but do you remember back in August 2019 when I asked about the first Uzumaki trailer and almost the exact same thing happened as the stream LOL? Yeah, okay. Maybe I should. Okay. I do want to kind of engage in more of the Adult Swim stuff, so maybe I will. I don't know when. See, that's the problem with me is less the that I'm too lazy or something. It's just like I never have any time, so maybe I should conquer that one soon. Around my birthday, I'm going to take some time off, so I think we'll see that. Super Adiska Pan used a clip of Gemroll and it got me to watch the series a long time ago. I didn't know that. That's cool. I'm glad. Hey, Pan has good taste with cartoons. Javier Portello, thoughts on Universal making new Lego movies that is live action and animated? I'm okay with that. I know they've had the deal for a while. I don't know why they haven't done virtually anything with it yet. I think maybe they've waited too long, and I think the brand needed a break. I'm curious how they're going to get that whole thing back. I think that's probably their biggest thing, is they need sort of a Force Awakens type thing to bring people and make them excited about seeing a Lego movie again. Zane Powers, even aren't the strikers the selfish ones because the thousands of them are robbing entertainment from millions of consumers? Isn't it the need of the many over the needs of the few? I have seen that take from people, which is I understand people think that and they don't want like, hey, Deadpool 3 was filming and stuff, but I think it's also like if they're having trouble like eating and like not having a weekend because you're working too much, and there's been periods of my life where I've worked 6 days a week for several years on top of all this stuff, and it's rough. So if in my mind, I am always for that stuff. I wish people wouldn't think that, but I know they do. And I know Zane Powers is joking, but I do wish people wouldn't think that way about them, and that their need is to make stuff. We have a ton of stuff. You can watch older stuff and other stuff and discover stuff. They don't need to just keep feeding you to keep their corporate bosses happy and to keep you happy. You can just, there's a lot of things you need to check out, so go do that. Jordan Salaflo, how do you deal with a movie watching rut, meaning that you are going through a phase not enjoying movies like you normally do? I mean, because I see new movies that's happened. I don't love to put out a ton of reviews where I'm like, this stinks, this stinks, this stinks. It just happens. To me, Um, I don't really mind watching bad movies. To me, it's all part of the whole thing of watching movies. Uh, I try to accept it, but if you're really down, I would watch a movie you like. Like anytime I'm sort of down on movies, or like when I used to have more free time and stuff before the Oscars, I would pick one of my movies I would like as a kid, or I would watch a silent film because that would make me realize that I loved movies. Because I often get bummed by the Oscars because there's nothing to do with the love of movies. It's just like pomp and circumstance. And I think that would help me during that time. Is I would watch, like, I remember for a couple of years I'd watch Return of the Jedi because when I was a kid that was the movie that really made me want to get more into movies. And even though like Return of the Jedi is very silly and all that stuff, it kind of reminded me of that wonder while I watch people kind of stamp it out. So I would say watch a movie you really like, even if it's silly, even if it's dumb, just do it. Nathaniel Foga, how do you feel about the next Saw film coming out at the same time as the Paw Patrol sequel? I've heard about that. I don't think this will have the same effect as Barbenheimer. I'm really not as versed on the Saw films, and I don't like the Paw Patrol stuff, so I guess it really doesn't affect me at all. Yes, it is really good. Thank you, Adrian Driscoll. Have you considered just having a sweet mustache? I think I had a mustache in a short film that never happened, basically. And we were worked on for a while and had all these concepts for it, and it just fell apart, unfortunately. But, no, I sort of like this look. I'm into this right now. Your mom forced you to trim your beard? That stinks, but I don't know. I'll probably cut this up a little. I have a barber who's really good at it. Okay, where do we go? Okay, movie watching. What? Okay, Cornbread. Do you think studios will try to artificially create Barbenheimers to try and harness free publicity and fall horribly trying to force it, like with Morbius beforehand? This is from Cornbread. I do think it'll happen again. I don't know how you would do it with another two movies. Like, I have heard the Paw Patrol Saw thing building some momentum, but I think you'd have to have like people willing to do both, and I don't think those two work as well. I'm curious how you will do that. Again, I do think someone will attempt it. I don't know if it'll work as well. I think it's partly because no one saw Tenet in theaters, really. So there was an anticipation for a new Christopher Nolan. And it was like sort of a different drama sort of thing, as opposed to a silly, quote unquote, sorry, silly, frivolous sort of thing at the same time. So I think you'd have to have them geometrically opposed, but at the same time be interesting movies the public would want to see. I don't know if you could do that as well as this had. It might not ever happen again. Will people try? Yes, but you'd have to get two studios working in tandem, which I don't know if that will work out as well. Question, are you disappointed that the MI2 theme from Limp Bizkit wasn't in Dead Reckoning? I always am. It should be in every Mission Impossible. They always have the song, and I'm like, it's funny. I almost made a short about this, how the Kanye West song for 3, they did a press conference, they did all this like buzz, like Kanye West doing the song for the third Mission Impossible, and then it just plays in the credits. It's not even in the main movie, and then they stopped doing them, and it's like, Kanye West killed Mission Impossible themes. We don't talk about it. You think the Dear David BuzzFeed Twitter ghost story was a fraud? I'm just learning about this thing. I haven't read the thread. I didn't watch the trailer, but I kept hearing about it. So maybe, but that BuzzFeed at that time when that came out was such, like, had the internet in the palm of its hand in a certain regard. Zane Perez, do you think it'd be possible where studios make a separate deal with SAG-AFTRA trying to squeeze the WGA out, and would SAG-AFTRA take it? That is what people are suggesting, and there's a good chance that will happen. How many shelves do you have to keep your movie collection in? I mostly have binders, and I need to, that are in, which I don't, I mainly have a Plex server now with a bunch of stuff, but I haven't even transferred stuff over, so it's just a mess. It's all over the place, to be honest with you. Zane Powers, if you cover your mouth, will special guest Alan Moore show up off screen? Where do you go? I hate the Watchmen animated thing. How many times can we do Watchmen? You're not doing anything new with it. I'm not British. Sure, there you go. Bloxy, can you recast the Flash as Kevin James? Fuck yeah, you can. Catbot, CGI animators have considered a strike as well. That could break the MCU if they went forward with it. Should they go on? Yes, they fucking should. I don't even need to finish that question, Catbot. They should go on strike. They've been treated very poorly. They should make a union and fucking strike. These studios are not treating them fairly whatsoever. Cornbread, what's up with the 2020? What's up with 2023 and companies abandoning their high regard brand names for names that are horrible? Look up search engine, HBO Max, Twitter. I don't know why people are doing that, to be honest with you. Question: what was your best theater experience of the year so far? Oh, Spider-Verse and IMAX, 100%. Which Pepsi you like better? Mine is Blue Pepsi. I like Wild Cherry Pepsi probably a little more than regular Pepsi, to be honest with you. Not plausible. Based off of your beard, will you one day retire to the mountains and find a big blue ox? That'd be cool. We just chill and watch movies. What would you, Carter Wright, what would you want to see from a Pokemon movie in the future? Literally, Ash, Misty, Brock, Pikachu, just do the fucking show. That's all anyone wants is people, like, Detective Pikachu, just make the show the movie. Like, I don't understand. Like, come on. That's what I want. Zane Powers, how can you be doing a movie crap on a Sunday? That's the Lord's Day. Also, why do you waste all your money on movies when you could be giving it to the church? I don't know. Well, movies are kind of like a church for movies, so sure. Mblood T, you think He-Man should start Ryan Gosling and it's actually a Barbie sequel to follow up Ken's arc? That would be cool. I haven't seen Barbie yet, but I still think that's cool. Did you see the Barbie popcorn box where it's a doll box? I have seen that. It looks kind of neat. That was from Austin. Do you remember the very last time you saw a Saturday morning cartoon block? So, I think I've told you this. I actually recorded the last cartoon block on my DVR. The last time Spectacular Spider-Man played on, I recorded part of it and I watched it. I think like when Sophie was really young, we were just like always just holding her on the couch and stuff like that. And I did watch it, and so I kept it for years. And I was like, I'll finally do it. And I watched it. Spectacular Spider-Man. It was the last time Spider-Man played on Saturday morning. So that was the last time I saw. And I think it had a couple of cartoons with it in that recording. So I did see part of the last Saturday morning block. I'm still sad about that, but oh well. Sorry. Compared to the 2000s when word on them was getting out largely, how influential is Scientology today, you think? I don't think it is very influential. I think there was a time they're really pushing it and getting ahead of it, but I think documentaries sort of killed it to a certain extent, but I don't think it's gone really. Question, but with Barbarian instead of Barbie, that would have been, what, like Conan the Barbarian and Oppenheimer? I mean, that would have been neat. Favorite song from the Godzilla soundtrack? I mean, it's got to be Come With Me by Puff Daddy. I did review that video forever ago. If Futurama goes long enough, what would we get? A Scruffy Spotlight episode? I mean, Jesus. Austin, thoughts on the animated Watchmen movie? How people are going to interview Alan Moore about it, even though we know he's not going to like it. I mean, maybe if it's good, but I'm just sort of like, the problem with that comic, well, okay, the comic itself is good. My issue with it is not a piece of art that goes beyond what it was. It's like, it is about comics at the time. And people are like, I read Watchmen. I'm like, okay, did you read like DC at the time? Or you're reading X-Men at the time? Like, you're not familiar with this. So it's like, I kind of feel the same way about Watchmen as you do the Searchers. It's like, it didn't mean as much to me if I'd never seen a John Wayne movie before. It's a meta commentary almost. And you need to have, like, it's made for the audiences at the time. And then when people are like, oh, it's like the best movie ever, and people are like, oh, I should watch it, it's sort of like not a good example of those things. So I sort of wish people would pick something that like Citizen Kane works. You can watch Citizen Kane and you're like, oh yeah, I get it. You know, like, you don't need to know who Hearst is. And like, I feel the same way about Watchmen. I don't know. I kind of almost wanted to make a thing of like pieces of media that you sort of need to be familiar with what it's talking about. You shouldn't watch in a vacuum. And I think Watchmen is one of them. This is why it doesn't make a good movie. You can try as much as you can, but come on. Favorite concert you've been to? I guess It's been a while. Probably some of those punk shows in Towson at 10 car pileup. I'll just say that. What villain from any movie was terrifying because they were right? Openly confused. Probably, what's his name? In either Khan or who did Michael B. Jordan play in Black Panther? I think those two would go under that distinction. Favorite progressive rock band? I don't know those as well. Like politically progressive. Cornbread. I bought my niece a fun pink cowgirl outfit that we're going to go see Barbie in later this week. You ever buy a specific outfit to go see a movie? And I don't think I have. No, I don't think I have actually. I might have worn like a shirt, but I probably already had the shirt. So, is your house a swear safe place for your kids? Like, do you get yourself kids swear as long as they no, not to do it public? It has happened, and we try not to. That's basically it. Thoughts on Check It Out with Dr. Steve Roll? I remember watching it. I think it was cool. Zane Powers, what was the first movie you realized was bad? Huh. Oh, Return of Jafar. I've told that story before, I'm sure. After seeing all the Venture Brothers, what do you think of the series overall, and are you excited to see the movie? I've seen them all over time, but I'm really just watching the later half of the last season. I think it's a great show. I think it gets forgotten a lot, unfortunately. I think it's I got to hang out with those guys when Knockforce was like in development at the same studio and stuff, but and I have a real script somewhere too. But so I have a tiny bit of a connection. Even worked on it. I think people forget, but it's just a great, wonderful show. I always like it. I like all the references. I wouldn't mind rewatching it. Should do reviews of old Adult Swim shows, and I might do that one as well. So that's a good one. Did you hear that regular show has been disappearing on Cartoon Network's website and ads? I have heard that, and I think that sucks. I think I'm going to end soon, and I am getting a little tired. So let me see. Question, not plausible. Is High Five Ghost the least impactful main character on regular show? Maybe. I used to have a keychain of him, and I don't know what happened to it. It was really cool. I really like that. Let me find one more, and someone who I haven't. Jacob Slater, thoughts on behind closed doors containing crude SpongeBob drawings? What? I don't understand that one. Did you hear the thing that was like Tom Kenny's wife had to clear up that he wasn't dating Ariana Grande because the guy she's dating was in the SpongeBob musical? I thought that was pretty funny. Tom Kenny is not dating Ariana Grande, everybody. Don't spread that rumor. But look it up. It was a real thing that happened today. Hey, Optimus Ribjob, I missed you there. Thoughts on Twitter to rebrand as X? I think it's stupid. What if you had a goatee? No. Okay, I think that's it. Did I get everything? I hope I did. Anyway, I want to thank you all for being here. Excuse me. Wait, what did I do? What did I do? I was confused by that Jacob Slater question. Thoughts on the behind closed doors containing crude SpongeBob drawings? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Okay, anyway. I think that is it. I'm sorry about the ad thing. I actually didn't hit an ad thing. I know they're doing that, but I want to apologize. And also, if you're watching any of my stuff, because that's happened to streams, I've gone back and tried to check something and seen it has like an ad every 5 minutes. I would never do that in my life. I just do it every half hour later. To the Tom Kenny thing, sorry. So if that ever does happen, you can hit me up. I'll change it. Anyway, I should have mentioned the Tom Kenny thing earlier. There will be that cool music little short thing tomorrow, and there'll probably be a Margot Robbie movie she was almost in the day after that. And then Barbie later in the week, and I have all sorts of cool stuff planned. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for liking. The Ariana Grande thing. I should have said that. Thank you all for coming here on a Sunday. It was cool. We need to do this again. I don't think this will happen until at earliest the second week of August. I am still working on the cartoon. It was been a little slow. I forgot to mention that. But anyway, Thank you so much for being here. I love that you guys come here. I love the support. Thank you for everyone who gave us super chat. Sorry it was just Pepsi this time. I know that's lame. Thank you for seeing movies, and just thanks in general. I was really appreciated, and I'm really lucky to have you guys, and just thanks. So, everyone have a good night. I'll see you later, and I'll see you next time. Hopefully it won't be too long, and yeah, that's it. Goodbye, everybody, and subscribe if you would like to. See ya.